Thursday, September 7th. Tonight's meeting is being broadcast by Milford TV. If anyone would like a copy of the broadcast, please reach out to a member of the school committee or the administration. Our first order of business is the approval of minutes, and we have minutes of the August 17th, 2017 regular school committee meeting, as well as minutes from executive sessions on October 20th, 2016, November 3rd, 2016, March 30th, 2017, April 27th, 2017, May 4th, 2017, May 18th, 2017, June 8th, 2017, and June 15th, 2017. Do I have a motion to approve the meeting minutes?
Joe, Mr. Chairman, if I may, the question that I have, and I did speak to Melissa about this, is that the executive session minutes, I know were already approved by us. Now we're going to make an approval to move them to public. But is there any member that, are we okay with any member that wasn't here to approve those minutes? And I don't mean to put you on the spot like that, but I thought about that after the fact. I'm like,
that's what I was going to say.
So should we do them individual?
Do we want to break them up
I think you should do them individually.
and break them up?
and does every member remember when
That
they?
was going to be the other piece, is we
Yeah,
may want to
see.
provide attendance on those minutes as well, just so
Yeah.
we know who was there. Do we want to table these, Mr.
All right,
Chairman?
so let's
moving
table
forward?
the executive session minutes, and we'll
Motion.
just
I
motion
think-
to approve the
yeah.
August 17th.
So, motion to table the executive session. I'll
Okay,
make a
motion
to
from
do that.
Scott. Do I have a second? Second from Joey. And then do I have a motion to approve the meeting minutes from the regular meeting on October?
Got to take the
You
vote on
need to
that
vote
first.
on the motion.
Got to vote
Oh,
on the motion
sorry.
to table that first.
All right, so we have a motion on the motion to table the executive session meeting
Yep.
minutes. We have a second.
All in favor?
All in favor? All right.
Good.
So now the second motion is to approve the regular meeting minutes from August 17th. Do we have a motion? Motion from Jen, seconded by Joe. Anyone in favor? So 5 in favor and 2 abstentions, right? Okay.
And so, Joe, the only thing I would ask is, Kevin, if you could, when Melissa gets a chance, go back and just see who might have not have been here on those,
Absolutely.
and just so when we come back the next meeting, we can approve those so that they get out to the public.
Perfect. I can definitely do that.
Thank you.
All right, so next order of business is announcements, correspondence, and distributions. Do we have any announcements, correspondence, or distributions? Joey?
Yeah, I got one here. Just quick reminder, at Stacy Middle School, they're having their annual 5K color run. Pre-registration by September 18th, and the event's going to be October 14th, and you can register as well at 8 o'clock.
Thanks, Joe.
Put that in.
Jim?
I just got one.
No, go ahead.
Oh.
Go ahead.
I just want to say, Lucy Jenkins, Director of Special Education, and Victoria Houston, Assistant Director of Special Education, are hosting a meet and greet on Wednesday, September 13th, 2017 at 6 p.m. in the Milford High School Teachers Resource Room. Immediately following will be a presentation by the Federation for Children with Special Needs on basic rights in special education. This workshop will provide a basic understanding of the complex special education laws and procedures.
Thanks, Jim. Mike?
I'd just like to congratulate the superintendent and his staff on the opening of another school year. That was uneventful, and everything's going well, so congratulations, and please let everybody know that the school committee is pleased with the way things are going.
I will absolutely do that. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Mike. And a lot of credit goes to the folks who are sitting out here right now.
I know.
Hence the
They
chuckles
just-
in the background.
They just make you look good.
That's a big job, brother.
Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Scott?
Yep, so certainly to echo Mike, and certainly welcome to the teachers there and staff that are here this evening, and welcome back to school to all staff, as well as parents and who are somewhat cheering and somewhat sort of double-edged sword on that, I think, for parents having their kids go back, but certainly welcome back all students as well. The other piece is just with regards to announcements, correspondence. We did, I don't know if all members had an opportunity, I saw, checked my email today. We did receive a correspondence from Beverly Schweimer from the Milford Cares Group, just asking us as a committee to be aware of and make us aware of the fact that that they are having a forum next Tuesday on September 12th at the town hall. This is with regards to the upcoming referendum vote on September 19th with regards to recreational marijuana shops. They were just an invite to get out to the public, certainly within our school community. There will be an impact potentially one way or the other, and just an opportunity to get some information. So certainly, I know I will personally be attending, so hopefully other people will be able to as well.
Yeah, and Scott, along those lines, at your desk is a Q&A that was provided by Milford Cares as well, so we received additional correspondence from that group. And yeah, personally, I do have some concerns regarding the retail sale of marijuana, and I think that it's important that as a school committee entrusted with the responsibility of keeping our students safe, that we do take a position on the retail sale of marijuana. So, from my perspective, allowing the retail sale of marijuana will increase accessibility and create a perception for students that because it's legal, it's safe, right? And my biggest concern is the increase in accessibility to edibles in particular. So often in the form of treats like candy, so it poses a particular threat to children who may mistaken them for regular treats, and these edibles are very easy to share and conceal, and I think monitoring the products of this nature in schools would be an additional and challenging responsibility for our staff and our administrators. So I don't mean to put you on the spot. I know this is just some correspondence that we received today. It wasn't necessarily an agenda item, but I would like to get your thoughts on taking a position and making a motion to vote as a committee to oppose the retail sale of marijuana.
So, Joe, just if I may, I couldn't agree with you more. I share your concerns, the edibles in particular, as a parent of two teenagers here in the schools. I definitely have some ongoing concerns with the potential of having recreational shops and just increase access within the town of Milford. Certainly the law has been changed and the law has been passed, and certainly respect everyone's right to privacy, but personally I have similar concerns to yours, Joe, around the edibles recreational sale within the town of Milford, having those additional shops. We have our own challenges that we're dealing with and that we're continuing to work our way through. I think this just could potentially add to it. Certainly respect everyone's right with regards to the law changes, but moving forward, I think that there are other places in the Commonwealth that are maybe a better spot for having those stores. I couldn't support it any more than you could, Joe. I'm completely on board with that, so I would be very comfortable moving forward on that.
Any other discussion?
If I could, Mr. Chairman, I don't know if people know, I'll be one of the speakers at that forum next week, and I couldn't agree with you more. This isn't the place for it, and you and I spoke earlier on the phone, and a lot of people are coming forward now and they're saying, well, we've legalized, alcohol sales. Why don't we legalize, the control of marijuana? In my opinion, it's two totally different things, and so I couldn't agree with you more. Definitely, I would vote. My vote's going to be yes, and I have no problem saying it at all. I don't want retail marijuana stores in the town of Milford at all.
Any other discussion? John?
Yeah, I take the same position as the three of you on retail marijuana sales. I am not in favor of it in this community, period, for the same reasons that you've all illustrated. When you get down to the ballot question, it's much more complex than retail marijuana sales. But no, I am definitely opposed to retail marijuana sales in Milford, and if this committee wants to take a position on it, that's my position.
So do I have a motion? Again, it's not a binding vote, but do I have a motion to, as a committee, to oppose the retail sale of marijuana in Milford?
With pleasure. Yes.
So motion from Scott.
I would second that.
A second from Mike. All in favor? Okay, so we have 6 in favor and 1
Just by-
abstention.
I'm
Or-
keeping my personal
Mhm.
politics away from school committee meetings.
Yeah,
That's
so
all.
abstaining.
I'm neither here or there right now, so.
Okay.
And to be clear, this isn't a position on the ballot question. This is a position on retail sales, which are two different things.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Okay, so we had 6 in favor and 1 abstention.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. All right. Any other announcements, correspondence, or distributions? Do you have anything, Kevin?
No, I'm all set.
You're good?
Yep.
Invitation to speak. Anyone here?
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
All right, so I am doing the updates from Milford High, from the 5 days of school that we've had. First first event was the start of school. So far so good. We had assemblies on the first day. We went over expectations and consequences for specific actions and introductions to everyone on the new administration team. So it was warm and welcoming. Big push was the attendance policy. In school and then in each individual class was one of the themes from Mr. Otland's message specifically. So there's that was one of the takeaways from our meeting. The seniors, I can't really speak for from everyone else, but I understand that's how that went. And then peer mentors were very involved in the transition of the 8th graders to freshmen. This, for the first, up until now, it's still going on, peer mentors, wearing their neon shirts. We had homerooms every morning, so there was a handful of peer mentors in each freshman homeroom. And we went over upcoming events, each student's specific schedules and how to get from here to there, the plan for, each day. And then in the hallway, we all wore our neon shirts still, and pointing out where each classroom is. And we have another meeting. We didn't have one this week. We have one tomorrow, though, to sort of recap the first handful of school days. So that's exciting. And now that we have a little bit of school underway and clubs are getting going and sports are getting going, when you're moving away from just here's Milford High. It's more like what's coming up next. So all the clubs, that's really being there's a big push for Best Buddies. Everyone, we have lots of flyers out, and everyone asks me how they can get involved, which is super exciting. And also the auditions for the drama are Monday, and callbacks are Tuesday. So lots of interest from the freshman class, especially with that. So that's exciting too. And then another thing from the meeting was the Chromebooks, which are going to be given to the freshmen on the 26th. And so from all the freshmen that I've been talking to through peer mentoring, they're all super excited to have their own personal computer. So that's really exciting for them. And I think as of today, all fall sports are officially underway. I know lots of teams had their first meets and matches and games. So school spirit is super high. So that's, I keep using the word exciting, but I think that sort of encapsulates everything, the first few days. Clubs are starting up again, and the school year is off to a great start, and there's a lot of positive energy in the MHS halls. So those are my updates.
Great, thank you. And I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name.
Oh, I didn't
Is it
even say
Emily?
it. Emily Condon, yep.
Emily Connor, great.
Mhm.
Thanks for coming, Emily. What grade are you in?
I'm a senior this
A
year.
Senior? Exciting. Any questions or comments for Emily?
No, just thank you, Emily,
Of course.
for coming in. It's good to see you again.
Good to see you.
Last time we were meeting to interview the
Yeah.
now new principal
I know.
of the high school. So hopefully you're still pleased with your choice here. So
Yeah.
which is good.
And Miss Tucker too. I didn't know her until the beginning of school, and she seems awesome. Everyone's really excited about her too, and I wasn't involved in the process, for hiring her, but I was really excited to meet her, and she, is learning everyone's names already. That's something that she's doing at lunch, and she was at our peer mentoring meeting today, and I've seen both her, Mr. Allen, and Mr. P in lots of classrooms, especially, which is today they just kept popping up in my classrooms.
I believe that was a question you may have asked her in the interview process.
I know.
But
It was my question, yeah.
We'd really like to see more
Yeah,
presence of
and
the
they
principal
did.
and the classroom.
They
So
were there.
I think they found your
Yeah.
calendar, which is great. So.
If I could just follow up, Mr. Chairman, Emily did an awesome job during
Thank
the
you.
interview process. It really it encourages you to have more student participation in activities like that. She asked great questions.
Thank you.
Was a great part of the deliberation. Really did an awesome job and very impressive.
Thank you.
So thank you for that.
Mr. Chairman, I just wanted to add also, as a parent of a freshman,
Yeah.
going to the orientation day,
Mhm.
there were so many peer mentors
I
in
know.
those
Yeah.
yellow shirts. And
Yeah.
to feel like your child has all of these upperclassmen who are there, you guys gave up a day of your summer. I'm sure you've given up other of your personal time for training.
Yeah.
And, the feedback that I heard was that you were all around and you were available. And I think
Nice.
freshmen are very scared and nervous. And
I
to think
know.
that they're upperclassmen whose sole position is to make it easier is really great. So thank you.
It's amazing the impact, and I'm not even sure that the mentors understand the impact that they have, and it's ongoing.
Mhm.
Case in point, as you know, my daughter is one of your classmates. As she's making her list of places to apply for college, her peer mentor when she was a freshman went away to college outside of New England, and her top choice for where she wants to go to college is actually where her peer mentor went. So who was a senior when she was a freshman. So it's become a relationship that's actually built and developed just throughout that 1 year as peer mentorship and has stayed through all 4 years of her high school, which is impressive. So
This year I'm actually in Miss Forge's homeroom, the bistro. There's just 2 students in that homeroom this year, Carla and Yuri, and they're super awesome. So I've just been, hanging out with them for my peer mentoring homeroom. So I'm glad that they're also included. I think that's important.
great.
That's great. Thanks for coming. You're
course.
obviously
Thank you.
very well
Have a
spoken.
great school year.
Thank you.
Your,
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
your passion and energy was very evident tonight, and that's contagious as well. So it's great to know that students like yourself are influencing the incoming class and making an impact on them, and we really appreciate that.
Thank you. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you.
All right. Senator Bertinazi, you're up next.
I wish I had been that self-assured when I was in high school. First of all, when I retired from the Senate, I had an interest in continuing in a few areas of interest. And I established a foundation, and we held our meetings, our initial meetings, for quite a while, as a matter of fact, at the Geriatric Authority. The reason for that was that the man, the educator that I most admired and who had the most impact on my life, Paul Raftery, was a resident there. And he became a member of our foundation. He and Bob Pagnini, who also was a Milford principal, were the ones, as a matter of fact, who drew up all of the things that went into each of the areas that we decided to pay attention to. And so now, some 20 years later, I'm pleased to announce that in 3 areas, we're still very, very active. The area we give a cultural award, a citizenship award, and an educational award. Those are the 3 areas of our main interest. This year, the cultural award will comprise of sending a young lady from Milford High School, who just graduated from Milford High School, Joan Donahue, to Italy for the summer to study. We do that in conjunction with the Milford Lodge Sons of Italy. Every 2 years, we give a citizenship award. We do that by taking all of the elections that are run for the 2-year period, and each of the towns that I represented, either in the House or in the Senate, compete. So there are 19 towns that compete. And we give a $1,000 award to the town clerk and board of registrars that they can use in any way to improve further their voting capacity. This past year, for the 2015-16 period, the town of Upton won. And interestingly, it's their second win. Milford has never won, which shows obviously that we don't pick a winner. It's up to the community to come out to vote. When I was running, Milford was always one of the very best voting communities. I'm a little disappointed by the fact that they really have been middle of the pack of the 19 communities. Hopefully with some of your candidacies, maybe more people will come out in the future. Our present board is made up of Dr. Carl D. Gregorio, chairman, Mike DiOrio, treasurer, my son, attorney David Bertinazi, clerk, and then Gail Cromaldi, a retired school teacher, Janice Guerriere, Julie Richards, a retired teacher, Joseph Nigro, a retired teacher, Cynthia Casey, the president of the Milford Federal Savings, and former Superintendent Tom Cullen. Now, over the years that we've been giving this award, I have to say that the superintendents have been absolutely super. In terms of cooperation, in terms of assistance, it's been great. And it's never been better than it is right now with your new superintendent, who has been terrific in his cooperation with us. It's not easy to put this together each year, and the assistance of the superintendent, the principals, whose letter is very, very important. They each write a letter of recommendation for the individual who wins the nomination from their school. And the teachers themselves. I have to say that the way in which this is put together is intended to be a community-wide program. We're interested in making this the most prestigious award in the community, and I think we've achieved that by involving everyone. Any teacher may be nominated for the award by any citizen of the community. It can be another teacher, it can be a parent, it can be simply someone in the community who has been impressed by an individual teacher. That nomination goes to the school council in each instance. So each building, of course, has its own school council. So that each of the people that I'm going to introduce tonight has been the winner of the nomination from their school council. One of the things I wish that we had far more money than we do. I would like to give a cash award to everyone, but at the very least, we want to make clear that there are 6 people who have won nominations, so there are 6 winners to begin with. When these people have been nominated or chosen by their school council, that comes back to the superintendent's office, the material on each of them. My board picks 7 citizens at large from the community. Varied backgrounds. We never repeat the same people. Each year, there are 7 new people who are involved in this process, which means that 20 years later, 140 people have been involved in this process community-wide. And I have to say what each of them says in almost every single case after having met and having chosen a winner, they never realize what outstanding teachers we have in the town of Milford. And of course, that goes a long way toward the effort that you put in as members of the school committee. This year, when we held a meeting at the superintendent's office, it was one of the closest finishes that we've had. So I have to say that there are some really excellent people here today. And I want to now introduce the winners, the nominee. As a matter of fact, I have the building too, so maybe I'll use that. The nominee from Woodland Elementary, Kirsten Raymond. The nominee from Shining Star, Roselle Viegas. The nominee from Stacy Middle School, Meredith Pertell. The nominee from Milford High School, Caitlin Small. nominee from Memorial Elementary, Ellen Semiaja. And this year's winner of the Outstanding Teacher Award for 2017, Christine Cochran.
Good evening, everyone.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Dr. Senator Bertnazzi, for this honor. And to you. I'm sorry, a little nervous. And for your foundation for this wonderful honor. Thank you very much. Thank you. And thank you, the school committee, for allowing us to come tonight and share this. And Milford really, truly is made up of wonderful teachers behind me. And I've been working in the Milford school system for over 30 years. I've had the opportunity to work at the high school level, at Shining Star, at Memorial School, Brookside School, and as well Woodland School. And during those years, I have met many, many administrators and teachers who have been wonderful mentors and role models for myself. And it goes without saying that teaching is a very difficult job, and it does take a village, as we all know, and with the support staff that you have, such as the one I have at Brookside this year, really, really helps make my job more meaningful. I've met many families and students during that time. I actually did the math, and it's well over 600 students that I have taught, and families that I have met through my career. And it's those students and families that make me get up every morning and want to go back into my classroom and teach. And this is an incredible honor. And again, I would like to thank everyone here tonight, Senator Bertnazzi and your foundation, Brookside School and Brookside School Council for allowing my nomination to come through. And I look forward to another wonderful year and many more. Thank you so much.
And of course, I already gave her the $1,000, so. That's our 20th edition. You have some great teachers left who are still to be honored in the years to come, as long as our money holds out. And I want to, again, commend you. You know, you take the time to do something that's truly important to the community. Our schools are the single most important thing that we have in this community and in any community. We're very, very proud of our children. We're very, very proud of their accomplishments when they've finished school here and have gone on into life. And we're also uniquely proud of our teachers. And so we'll be doing this. See you again next year.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, Senator, if you could just hold on for 1 second.
Sure.
Being the senior member here, and every year, you know, watching you give this award away, as teachers, if you don't think that you can impact children's lives, the senator, every single year he's been here, I remember the first year that I was here, you mentioned your high school teachers, 2 of them by name. Tonight you mentioned Paul Raftery, who was a great, great man, great man. So when you go to work every single day, and you have to realize that you make such a big difference in children's lives. And I try to encourage more people to get into education, because that's exactly what you can do. To listen to the senator again tonight mention, and I understand it was a long time ago, like myself, but that somebody touched your life like that so many years ago that you never ever forgot them. And that's what you have to remember. That's what the children that you teach are going to remember about you. And the other side of it is, every year at the end of school, we bring the teachers in that are retiring. And I always talk about it, and you mentioned it tonight, you have over 30 years. I would sit there in 36, 34, 35, 30. I'm like, wow, this is unbelievable. It's a true love of education. It's a true love of children. And, you know, when you sit at senior night and you watch all the schools of where the children are going, it's the foundation. It's the foundation, it's everything in the district that got them where they're going, and you should be so proud of yourself. You know, you should be so proud of yourself, because you do make a difference every single day. So thank you, and thank you, Senator.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And one of the teachers that I mentioned made me a language major at Tufts when I left here. Miss Pianka was
Yep.
her name. She was a marvelous teacher. As a matter of fact, when I got to Tufts, the book that we used in French class was written by her brother Hugo, who was on the faculty at Dartmouth. So
Yeah.
you've had great teachers in the
Great
past.
teachers. Thank you
and we
so much.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Senator, we have a few other comments,
Yep.
if it's okay. Scott?
Thank you so much. So certainly echo all of Mike's comments, and certainly congratulations to all the teachers. I was saying when I first got in here, two of my favorite meetings. So this is my 6th year as a committee member. Two of my favorite meetings of the year is actually this one, because we get to see all of you guys. It's one of my favorite meetings. I love this meeting. I love hearing your stories. I love seeing the teachers up here. One of my other ones is actually, it's the bittersweet one. It's the end of the year. It's the saying goodbye to teachers who are retiring. So I'm really excited to see all of you guys up here. As somebody who was raised by 2 school teachers, as many of you know, some of you know them very well. But you know, certainly I've seen firsthand the impact that you have. I have 2 students that are in here. I'm a product of Milford Public Schools. I am so incredibly proud of all of you, and certainly and humbled to be, you know, a committee member to be here and help support you. So congratulations to you all.
Thank you.
And Senator, if you could extend our appreciation of the rest of your committee for all the work that they've put into this, to recognize all the great work that's being done by our teachers. You know, as a school committee, we greatly appreciate everything that you do to recognize the great work being done. So.
Thank you, I will. And you know, I have to tell you, with the way the superintendents have arranged it, that we give this award and announce it at the first meeting of all the entire faculty when they come back to start the new school year, I think is a great way to start a year, to recognize the people that you're looking forward to working with and getting so much out of with your kids. I think it's very positive, and that's why we'll do it as long as we can.
And we look forward to having you back next year.
Oh, thank you.
Joe.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry, one more.
Oh.
Yeah, not to belabor, but one thing that struck me is that I know the award is set up from pre-K through 12, and that we have every part of the Milford Public Schools represented here. But I also love seeing the breadth of experience that all of you have, and the fact that we have the arts represented, and special education, and first grade all the way up to calculus. And I know firsthand, my son was 1/600th of your student body, and certainly enjoyed that experience, and it was well deserved. And I saw in the Stacy newsletter today that social emotional health is going to be or empathy is going to be one of the themes, and I love seeing that we have a guidance counselor and the work that you've done with our students. So I think you're such a great cross-section of what does make, to your point, our schools really special, and the village that it takes, that you all contribute. So thank you for recognizing, and
I wish you could have
I'm so
seen the
happy for all of
package
you.
of the background of each of these people that would bear out exactly what you're saying. Wonderful.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
everyone.
Senator.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you all. Thank you.
All right, Matt, I think you're up next. 101 technology rollout.
Top that, Dr. Josephson.
Let's see
Talk
what
about
you
a
got,
tough act
Matt.
to follow. Good luck.
Do what I can. Well, thanks for having me back. I know a year ago or so sat here and went through our vision statement and plan and our big goals for the year, and it's been an exciting ride over the last 13 months, seeing all of this roll out, and all of the hard work of so many people and the support of this committee is really unfolding right in front of us. And my favorite part is seeing the students. I had a chance yesterday to meet with all 6th, 7th, and 8th grade students to talk about the expectations, seeing their excitement about learning, and the excitement and possibilities of what's moving forward in the Milford Public Schools. So we've heard many things from me. We've seen presentations, we've seen the projector not work, we've seen a lot of things. But today I really want to just touch on a few new things that are moving forward and are really current on what's happening. So there are three documents that were a little late to the game, but they are in there as of this morning. And I just wanted to talk about the timeline of our rollout, because we are going to be rolling out 1,200 Chromebooks in the next 2.5 weeks. And the timeline is pretty much spelled out here with some of the dates and highlights, really dating back to the summer when we started to get the Chromebooks in. We had documents that went home with families last week, the first day of school for the middle school, and then the second day for high school, because that was the first time they had homeroom. Families have had about a week to look through some of the documents. I've also linked all documents associated with the Chromebook initiative and translated of those documents online. They're on our Milford Public School website, right on the left under the quick links. Upcoming events, as of tomorrow, the forms were due, asking students and families to read through the expectations. We're data collecting now to see where we are, and families who would like to participate in the warranty program. Tomorrow was the date we're collecting all the forms so we can make plans for next steps. Last night was our first family evening. We have another one coming up Monday at 8 o'clock here in the Milford High School auditorium. We had one scheduled for Monday evening, but I sent a notice out to the community today, or to the 6th through 9th grade families, that we moved that due to a selectmen meeting. So the next night meeting will be a week from Monday. It'll be the 18th at 6:30 here in the auditorium. A couple other dates looking forward. I'll be meeting with the high school freshmen the 22nd. And then we'll start the rollout where all the students in 6th through 9th grade will be receiving those. Each grade level will be a different time and date, and to try to make it a little bit more organized as we hand out 1,200 of these. They are going to be cataloged, they are going to be asset tagged, and when students come in by alphabetical order, the Chromebooks will have cases, asset tags. Students will, just like supermarket, key them in, and then student information will be linked to that Chromebook moving forward. Students who participated in the warranty program or the opt-out warranty piece will be taking them home that day. Students who are not will, they'll just stay, they'll be assigned, and then we will hold on to them for that day. And then we have some makeup days, but I'm guessing that day will be the best attended day for our 6th through 9th graders to come to school that day to pick up their Chromebook. And more detailed information's on here, but those are some of the big timeline events going forward. A second document that I put in there was something that we are moving forward in Milford on, really talking about digital citizenship. And one of the keys when working with students is having something, one, catchy, two, that's memorable. So one of the things that we are asking all of our students is to be smart with their digital citizenship and not always hammer home digital citizenship and go through the explanation. We wanted to come up with this acronym SMART. We wanted all of our students to be safe. And then it gives our teachers, administrators, myself, an opportunity to talk about what that means to be a safe user, what it means to be safe in the digital space, what it means to be safe as an editor in content, in copyright. We also want our students to be mindful. They're going to enter a classroom and the world is at their fingertips. It's critical to teach them to be present, to listen to the teacher, because one of the keys that we have said from the beginning, 14 months ago, that this digital space is for learning, and the devices that we are providing are for learning, and for students to be mindful of that while they're in classrooms, and the teachers can trust them with that. We all want all of our kids and our students to be appropriate with the devices. So teaching them what is appropriate and how to be appropriate, not only with their own device, but working and operating in a classroom, because there's going to be a lot of collaboration within the classroom. There could be movement, and they're going to be taking the Chromebooks. They'll have it at lunch. They'll have it at free time during the day. So what is it to be an appropriate digital user with this digital tool? And responsible is the last one. We talk about it a lot. We say it. We see it in mission statements. We see it painted on school walls. And we want to talk about what it means to be responsible as a learner using these digital tools, because they are not a separate thing. And this came up last night. And I was in the high school staff meeting when Principal Otlin talked about that these will be the tools that students will use to learn. It's not, now we're going to use the Chromebooks. The Chromebooks are going to be integrated within the learning, within the day-to-day workings of students in teaching.
and this will take time. This is a definite paradigm shift, but we are really out in front right now and running. I know it's not on here, but we had over 100 teachers come in this summer. We had about 9 professional development sessions. Volunteer teachers came in to learn these tools, and we're going to talk about some courses going forward, creating like a group of a 10-hour session where teachers can come in and learn these tools, and teachers are craving it, and it's been a great experience. And the T is just maybe back to my days as a teacher is thumbs up, that if you are being a smart user, there's nonverbal cues. You walk by, I told 6th graders yesterday, I'm going to give you the look when I come by, and they'll be like, yeah, I'm using it. Being smart, I'm being safe, I'm being mindful, and it's something that we can still remember that they're kids, and that we have to make sure to that the learning is fun. We talk about engagement, and this is just a way to do it. I'm not big on a list of rules. I wasn't as a teacher, I wasn't as a principal, and I'm not in this role. I want to talk about expectations. These are the 4 expectations I shared with students yesterday. It's going to be the same ones I share with the high school freshmen. It's going to be the same one as long as I'm in this role here, and I hope that's a long time, that working in this digital space, that we are smart as our digital community moving forward. So this was also something that was shared yesterday. And the last one is just a few slides, snippets of some of the information that I spoke about last night at the family meeting. Mr. Legore was there, Superintendent McIntyre. We had a good group of families, and I started off by saying this is a discussion and a conversation. It was really, it morphed into just a lot of discussion, from privacy to responsibility to education and where we're going. So the big pieces that you'll see in here is some of the skills that we're going to be talking about, that I told the parents that they're going to be hearing about, is how we're using our tools for communication, how we're using them for collaboration, critical thinking, and creativity. And again, it goes back to the 4 things. Let's do a few things and do them really well. And these are some of the things that we are focusing on. I also spent some time, and it's in the packet here a little bit. I came here May or June to talk about some of the companies that we're going to be working with to create safe environment, and now through the summer we created a partnership with Gaggle for our digital safety and our Go Guardian for our device safety. And I talked a lot last night about what that looks like in ensuring privacy, but it's also ensuring safety and due process for our learners as well.
Any questions, Scott?
Yeah, for me. So first off, thank you, Dr. Joseph, for coming, and we got a little precursor to this at a meeting just prior to this for one of our subcommittees. I like the fact that one of the things that I think is really important is that the Chromebooks are being used. It's not that now we're going to use this. It's not an event. I think it's a big piece and just part of the evolution of education, where the Chromebooks really are being used as a tool, very similar to like it wasn't, okay, now we're going to write with pen and paper. A pencil and a paper was not it was a tool, was part of the learning experience and part of a tool that was needed in order to further education. It wasn't about the pencil and paper. Just as I love the idea of this, it's not about the Chromebook, it's a tool that's being used like a pencil, like a paper, like an encyclopedia from when I was a kid. Parents, please explain to your children what encyclopedias were, so I know we don't have them very much anymore. As books are. So I think it's great. I have heard some positive feedback from the forum last night as well as I just from a personal perspective, I have an 8th grader who was part of that group that you spoke to yesterday, and boy, these kids are taking it really seriously, which I think is wonderful. There's some personal accountability to them, and I'm impressed with the level that they're taking back to it. So I certainly commend you on it. I'm really excited to see how this goes forward. I know it's going to be a learning process, and certainly it's a heavy investment by the town. It wasn't a decision that was come to lightly by this committee either, or just going through that budget process. But certainly commend you and your team on that. So
thank you.
More to come, I hope.
A lot more to come. I hope so.
Good.
Jen?
I just wanted to commend you and the district on the way this is being rolled out. Number one, the communication to families, I think, has been extraordinary. The information just keeps coming, and those big Milford Public Schools emails, it's really helpful. It looks like you've gone through everything so methodically and really thought about what are the steps and what are the things we have to do to put the wheels in motion, and it's not just coming from Matt Joseph, it's coming in conjunction with the principals and in professional development partnership with the teachers. And we didn't even vote on these Chromebooks until when was it, May, the town meeting. I mean, it was really late in the game when we made the decision, and and we got the okay that this was even going to happen. So to see all of this put into place, all the papers that came home on the first day with very clear explanations for families. And on top of that, I know I was here one day over the summer and you were chasing after people who were doing the wiring of the high school. So this isn't even the only thing that was going on. There were a lot of things happening, but you still found a way to roll this out very meaningfully and in a very organized way. So I'm sure there'll be some bumps in the road because it's new and it's a lot. But I think the foundation that you've laid is going to set us up for success, and most certainly for our students. So thank you.
Thanks.
Mike?
First, I'd like to say thank you to Dr. McIntyre for convincing Dr. Josephs to come to work here. You and I had a long conversation about that.
Absolutely.
But great job, and I want to say thank you to you for taking the digital learning in the Milford Public Schools to a whole nother level. It's so impressive to see what you've done in such a short amount of time. I just want to say thank you. And you made a statement earlier that you hope to be here for a long time. I hope you are here for a long time, because what you've done in a very short time, if you stay for a long time, you can really do a phenomenal job as you do every single day. So thank you.
Thanks. And I know I'm just one person sitting here, and there's so many people along the way.
Yep.
As you said, from my first initial meeting with Dr. McIntyre in my office in Natick to meeting with Craig.
And that was actually intentional, so he couldn't escape.
to Craig the 2 days later, and really talking about the vision of where we're going as a town, and your support and the principal. I met with Josh Ottland multiple times, with Nancy Angelini and her team. So there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes that people don't know about that makes this all possible.
And that's an important point that you bring up. That's true. The people don't understand that, Kathy Perry, Craig Consigli, the building principals, the department heads, all the people that all work together, the finance committee in town, different departments that all work together to continually try and improve the Milford Public Schools. And I go back to what I said earlier, is when you sit there at senior night and you look at where these students are going to school, that's your success rate. To me, that's your success rate. So great job.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from Matt? So, Matt, do you want to talk about?
Oh, go. Can I just throw one more thing
Yeah.
in? And I want to echo what I think a lot of the committee members have said. I came into Dr. Joseph's office in Natick late last spring with a message that he wasn't expecting to receive. And
I looked at him like,
and it seems like we've just come a really long way in kind of, a little over a year. And a lot of the credit goes to him, because I think the critical piece is he's getting, he's working with our teachers in the classroom, working directly with the students, and getting them, number one, excited about technology, but two, using it for learning, which is what we ultimately want.
Right.
And from my perspective, he's exceeded my wildest expectations. So thank you.
And we appreciate that you also contribute in many other
So you're
ways, too. Now, before you go, though, I think we wanted to talk about grades 10 through 12
yes.
as well, and the next step there. So we have the fall town meeting coming up. The warrant closes on September 14th, and so as a committee, we need to make a decision as to whether or not we want to submit an article for the fall town meeting to fund Chromebooks for 10 through 12. And before I throw that question out to the committee, is there anything that you want to add as far as the rollout or potential?
Well, one,
rollout?
I'm 100% for it, if you were asking me, but I think more logically, if you can look at, and again, going back to the first time that we met and we talked about the vision of where we're going, we are rolling this out in a way of success. We piloted the Chromebook program before I came here, and then rolled it out in 3 grades. We used those 3 grades last year, as well as having 14 carts at Stacy last year, for teachers and students to utilize the tools, get comfortable, so it's not a one-off, here you go, good luck. So that made it a logical sense to move to the 6th through 9th grade this year, because they had experience, and it will make this smooth rollout. Now we have 4 grades that we're rolling it out with to see if our management system's working properly, if our asset tagging is working, if this time allotment, the professional element, is enough. In the carts that were at Stacy, a lot of them are going to be then put into 10 through 12, so now our 10 through 12 population will have experience, because our current 9th grade had that experience last year. So we're rolling it out in a 3-year success plan to ensure that the goal is that our students are learning with the most up-to-date tools. And I see our plan moving forward with an article going forward, hopefully being approved, that it continues that path for success, that it's not just throwing something out there because it's been in a magazine as the next buzzword. It's because we have tried it, we've seen what worked, and we're going to move forward strategically for success of our students and our teachers. And I think with the short term that we've worked so far, there's going to be bumps. There's going to be things that work, and there's going to be things that don't, and we're going to learn from that for the next phase. And I'm fully confident that that will be sooner than later, and it'll be very successful.
So and you may all recall, initially back in the spring, the intention was to move forward with an article, which at the time was approved by the Finance Committee to fund Chromebooks for 6 through 12. We had some additional conversations and decided that it would make sense to roll it out for 6 through 9 for several reasons that you just touched upon. But it was also a demonstration of partnership with the town, and deferring 10 through 12 would give the town an opportunity to look at free cash and look at funding for the fall. So now that the fall town meeting's here, this is our opportunity to proceed with rolling out Chromebooks for 10 through 12. So I'll open it up to the committee. Any questions or concerns?
I guess my first question would be is just, so if we put this forward as a warrant, gets approved, what would you see as a timeline for rolling out that for the purchase, acquisition, and all the work that you've done over the summer to sort of help prepare for this, for that next 10 through 12 sleeve, if you will?
I'd have to look at the timing of it, but I think if it was something that we had enough lead time, I know the turnaround time of ordering it would really kind of dictate, but if it was something that we could have, the meetings I'm having now in the late spring and talk with students, talk with the current 10 through, well, really 10th and 11th, because if we look at that proposal, it'll really be this current year's 10th, 11th grade, and essentially second graders. That would be the next phase of where we're going, because our current 12th graders wouldn't be here. And rolling it up that way, and starting some of the pre-meeting that we did over the summer that we're doing now, the cataloging, we could get that done much sooner and have a lot of this done before the close of the school year.
Okay, that's great. No, I think it's just my own 2 cents for you were looking for feedback, Joe. It was part of the budget conversation. It was something that we actually went back and forth on a number of different times. It was actually it was a commitment that was made by this board as well as by the Finance Committee to put this forth for October and let town meeting really decide on that. So I'm certainly all in favor of that. If you're looking for a motion, I know we're opening up for discussion, so I'll motion with the option for discussion that we move forward with adding to the town warrant seeking funding for grades 10 through 12 for the Chromebooks. I'll motion for discussion.
So motion for discussion from Scott, and John, you want to?
Yeah, so for the purpose of discussion, I would support this motion. I think we should move forward with an article for the fall town meeting. To be clear to everyone here and those at home watching, fall town meetings is when we typically do capital items. This spring was a little bit of an aberration. There was enough free cash available, which got us Chromebooks for this school year, which typically would not have been possible. The capital for what we've already purchased for Chromebooks would have typically been appropriated this coming October. So we're ahead of the game in that sense. And we did pull back, 3 grades from that initial request and agreement for the warrant. So I think now's the time to go forward and put an article on the warrant to appropriate the money for the next 3 grades of Chromebooks to be rolled out at, basically your discretion if the money is appropriated, because it's really now or a year from now that we're going to go forward with this. So I'm in favor of Scott's motion, and I'll open it up. Not that I have the choice, but I look for your feedback too.
Does anyone, Joe?
Just real quick, what was the price that we were gonna look for, or the cost money we were looking for to get in? I don't remember
It's
what it was.
for the 10 through 12.
Yeah.
It's gonna be approximately $300,000. It's probably somewhere between 275 and
Okay.
300, just depending on where the quote lands.
That's one question I just had. I'm good.
Yeah.
And that's a ballpark number.
Right, right.
I'm assuming
I
it's
knew
gonna
it was
fall in
somewhere around there, but I couldn't remember.
And just to add to what John said, procedurally, we typically fund capital items at the fall town
Right.
meeting. But that doesn't necessarily mean that because we get the funding, we have to roll it out in December,
No,
right?
correct.
So, you'll determine the timeline, and if it makes sense to wait till the summer, similar to what we did this past year, and then roll it out for the start of next year, then so be it. But at least we get the funding now, so we're prepared to roll it out, based on when you think it makes the most sense, so. All right, any other questions or comments? So we have a motion on the floor, from
The only,
Scott.
one last question. With certain items, when you're doing large scale purchasing, there are times a year when there's cost benefit for purchasing and acquiring. Does it make a difference with this level of technology on what time of year you purchase it, or is it just?
It doesn't. I know we're talking about how exciting this is and how new. This order would be actually a very small order for typical districts. Larger districts might order this monthly, this size. So like a Boston or a larger district. So companies that we purchase from, and this was one of the reasons I tried to make some connections with larger district, they have like 70,000 ready to go.
No, I wasn't sure if there's, so I'll give you an example. If you've ever run running a business or running a small business, there are certain times, as an example, least expensive time of year, believe it or not, to buy paper towels in bulk is the month of July. It's a strange thing to know, but you do when you have a small business, when you're ordering office supplies. There are certain times of years to do that. That's what I'm just asking with this type of technology. Are there certain times of the year where it's less expensive than anything else?
Right. Absolutely. We use the state bid list, and actually this would be a great time because when we actually purchased it is the worst time, only not because there's new models or anything, because everybody is
Availability.
ending their budget. We're now, they're replenishing for this year, so a purchase in late fall or early winter, we'd actually probably get them a little bit quicker.
Great. That was my only question.
So we have a motion from, John?
Well, the motion's on the floor, I was just gonna second the motion.
All right, so motion from Scott to move forward with the article for town meeting to purchase the Chromebooks for 10 through 12, seconded by John. All in favor? So that's unanimous.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you.
Have a great night.
Thanks.
All right, Kevin, report of the superintendent of schools.
Yeah, so I'm just going to share a few things about the first few days. First, I want to talk about the opening, the 2 professional days we had with faculty, which were very positive. In our opening session, students, parents, teachers, and actually the school committee chair all shared what they loved about the Milford Public Schools. And we received a lot of very positive feedback on that. And it's going to become a theme this year and kind of a campaign. And I'll be asking, I think, every member of this group to participate in some way at some point over the course of the year. And I think it's going to be exciting. Milford TV, who I want to thank, Rob and Liz, were able to shoot videos. We did a practice run at Milford TV prior to the presentations, and the videos came out great, and we're going to be sharing them on social media, and I'll be sharing snippets throughout the year at the school committee meetings as well, so you get a sense of those. Secondly, we did videos and that highlighted the strategic plan rollout, which we're going to talk about at the next meeting. And a number of our administrators and teachers participated and described how each of the 4 strategic levers that we have, which is growth-focused instruction, equity and access, continuous learning, and social-emotional learning, are becoming a fabric of each of our schools. And there was some very dramatic moments when Craig Consigli actually presented. And you're going to get an opportunity to see that probably in the next maybe month or 2. So something to look forward to. Teachers also participated in a presentation by Pam Garamone on positive psychology, and she also presented to our leadership team over the summer. And we're already seeing a number of teachers incorporating some of the strategies and activities that Pam presented into their classrooms. And it's all just great stuff about engaging students, being positive. A lot of the things we're talking about with the social emotional learning committee as well. And the funding for Pam was provided by the SEL committee and supported by the grant, the 3-year grant that we're currently participating in. Teachers and administrators also received training and support around technology, which Dr. Joseph just spoke about, curriculum, the educator evaluation system, and prepared their classrooms for students, which is what they were most interested in doing during those first 2 days. Opening day for students in grades 1 through 12 last Thursday went extremely well. We got a lot of great feedback on the opening day from parents and students, which I'm unbelievably pleased by. The first day of Shining Star was yesterday, and it's funny because when you go to the preschool on the first day, you always kind of wonder, like, are you going to see a lot of crying, little kids? And I walked down
Just
there.
parents.
There was a lot of crying parents, but I walked down there and it was the middle of the year. The kids were like engaged, doing great things. It was awesome to see. I walked through probably, I think, 4 or 5 classrooms with Dr. Masterson, and it was amazing that the kids were just doing it. Even the first timers, who you expect to be the most kind of reticent because it's their first school experience ever, and they were in it and doing it, which was awesome. Which is a great testament to the teachers and and the whole staff down there at Shining Star. And today was kindergarten, the first day of kindergarten, and it's amazing they've got it down to such a science. We Craig's daughter actually started at Memorial this morning, and so he convinced us to go over there. I actually convinced him, is the truth. But they've got it down to such a science where the kids feel welcome when they walk in. And I saw your wife there too with your daughter.
Yes. She just started kindergarten.
Yeah,
So.
yeah.
Is she still standing at the top of the driveway?
Yeah,
Or is she
it'd be
going
weird
when
if you didn't have a kid there and she was just hanging out.
Yeah, she just.
But it's amazing how they got it down to just a science in terms of just welcoming the students. They're greeted by somebody as they're getting off the bus, all the way through to the classroom. It's just fantastic. So just what a great way to start. And I had an opportunity to walk into a few classes at Brookside and talk to some of the students, and they were thrilled to be there. So you just love to get that kind of immediate feedback from the students. So off to a very good start, looking forward to a great year.
Thank you.
To summarize, Craig, did I miss anything?
No, I just want to really echo what you're saying and what Emily said, is just the remarkable positivity in the school for the start of this year. And it's, I say remarkable, I just can't remember it this way in the 20 years or so that I've been. And I think it has a lot to do with the opening that you presented in Pam Garamone, and just the real focus on social emotional learning. I think it's really helping. And it's great that the kids are recognizing it too. So.
Good. All right.
Thank you.
That's
Thank
what we
you.
got.
Thank you.
All right. Craig, you're up, mentoring program.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to give the committee an overview of the mentoring program this year and what we've done so far. So, Pam Hunter, Paul Mullihu, and Julie Emo and I really comprise the mentoring steering committee, and we're hoping to accomplish some great things this year. We really want to kind of change the way the mentoring program is structured. One of the areas that I think that we recognize where we're falling off a little bit is with our second and third year educators. So we have this program for first year educators, but then in terms of when they get to their second and third year, we're letting them go a little more and not keeping our hooks into them and keeping them at a, I guess, educating them better and getting them together more. So let me explain. The first year teachers, we have a two-day orientation at the beginning of the year. This year we brought them on a bus and brought them to every school, which is something that the other last year's teachers said that, I don't even know where this school is or that school is, so we got their survey data and took them to every school and had the principals introduce themselves and tour every building. And they were all very appreciative of it. It might have been 105 degrees, but they liked it. By the end, it was a little moist, I guess.
So they all want to transfer to Woodland.
Exactly. We ended at Woodland, so we're appreciative of that. So they spent the first day doing those kinds of things and icebreaker activities and just really getting to know the administration and each other, and they got to meet their mentors finally. The second day they spent in their building, they spent in their classrooms, they spent totally with their mentors, they had lunch with their principals, and really they talked about curriculum, setting up their day for success, setting up their classrooms, those kinds of things on the second day. Next year we'd like to expand that maybe to 3, 4, maybe even 5 days, really get our first year teachers in here early and help them get acclimated to the district. The other thing we're doing with first-year teachers is we're having monthly seminars. We're reading an anchor text, What Great Teachers Do Differently by Todd Whitaker. And that's going to, as we read that, that'll be the theme of the month. And with that, we're changing that a little bit differently too. Last year we had mentors and mentees in those meetings. This year we're just having mentees. And Julie, Pam, and Paula will be working with the mentors, and kind of we're working in parallel. So that what I'm talking about with the mentees, they're talking about with the mentors. So that's monthly, and then week to week, or whenever they need it, they have an individual mentor that they're meeting with and getting any questions that they have. So for our second and third year staff, we're looking at learning opportunities for them maybe 4 or 5 times in the year. Could be half a days where we're freeing them up, getting them into classrooms, doing peer visits. Also, we're working with potentially Mendon Upton or another district in getting their second and third year teachers together with ours and growing a professional network for them and really talking about classroom strategies. We talked about an anchor text for them with an online kind of component, do some blended learning. Kids Deserve It is the name of the book by Todd Nizlani and Adam Welcome. And that book's about a positive message about just doing what you need to for the kid sitting in front of you. So that's where we are with our mentoring program.
Scott?
Yeah, just a quick question. So thanks, first off, I think it's wonderful. I've heard great feedback on the program from the teachers that have gone through it, not just this year, but just in years past as well. One question and a thought I was having is, I've heard this not this year, but just in general.
Mm-hmm.
Is there thought to sort of extending this even a little bit further to maybe first year teachers for new to grade?
Mm-hmm.
So as an example, I've been a 5th grade teacher for the last 25 years. Now all of a sudden I'm a 3rd grade teacher.
Mm-hmm.
Or I've changed schools, right? So I was teaching it. Now last year that would have been 70% of our teaching population, so we couldn't have done that.
Mm-hmm.
But now sort of as an ongoing going forward, hey, I was teaching at Stacy and now I'm teaching at Woodland, or I was teaching at Brookside, now I'm over at Memorial, and maybe even, sort of encompassing that. It can be, feedback I've heard in years past from that is you almost feel like you're starting over again.
Mm-hmm.
And sort of developing that network, it can feel a little overwhelming. And though you're still sort of maybe more senior staff and certainly experienced, there's some of that feedback as well. So is there thought to doing that, or if not, I'd certainly just share the feedback with you.
We have done that in the past.
Mm-hmm.
We're finding that in most cases, the teams that those people are on are the ones that are mentoring them anyway, so they're integrating right within their team. So I think it's happening naturally, honestly.
Great, thank you.
Any other questions or comments for Craig? All right, thanks, Craig.
Yeah, well,
Kathy?
Excuse me. I have for the committee's approval this evening. The first request is course reimbursement. You have a list of the latest course reimbursement requests in the amount of $51,893.44.
We have a motion to approve. Motion from Jim, seconded by Joe. All in favor?
The committee also has a list of the latest appointments from our previous meeting. No vote is required. It's information only. We do have 12 warrants for the committee's approval this evening. The first warrant is in the amount of $11,197.89.
We have a motion from Jim, seconded by Joe. All in favor?
The second warrant is in the amount of $2,879.14.
Motion from John, seconded by Scott. All in favor?
The third warrant is in the amount of $11,608.83.
Motion from Joe, seconded by Jen. All in favor?
The next warrant is in the amount of $4,884.07.
Motion from Mike, seconded by Jen. All in favor?
The next warrant is in the amount of $13,114.99.
Motion from John, seconded by Scott. All in favor?
The next warrant is in the amount of $582,464.92.
I think Joey really wants to
No,
make a
just-
motion on this one. So, motion from Joe,
Making it
seconded
easier
by
for you.
Mike. All in favor?
You can let Joe motion that.
The next warrant is in the amount of $337,938.96.
Motion from Mike, seconded by Scott. All in favor?
The next warrant is in the amount of $13,872.06.
Motion from John, seconded by Scott. All in favor?
The next warrant is in the amount of $4,573.57.
Motion from Mike, seconded by Jim. All in favor?
The next warrant is in the amount of $6,475.82.
Motion from Jen, seconded by Jim. All in favor?
The next warrant is in the amount of $271,425.86.
Motion from Scott, seconded by John. All in favor?
And the last warrant is in the amount of $296,915.85.
Motion from Jen, seconded by Joe. All in favor?
And that's all I have this evening.
That's
Kathy,
enough.
you've been busy. You spent an awful lot of money in a
I
very
know.
short period of time.
I was just adding it up cumulatively and
I
went
don't think I've
far.
ever had seen 12 warrants.
No.
I know. No.
11 was
Did
my
Craig
record.
have 13?
I-
Craig had 13.
Craig had
Oh
17.
yeah, Craig had like 13
Oh, we did?
one night.
That
yeah,
night?
one meeting. Our meeting in, was it July? I think it was our July meeting. There were like 13 warrants.
That's hazing.
You didn't get through really quickly.
Thanks, Kathy. Next order of business is future agenda items. Does anyone have any future agenda items? No future agenda items. Any old business?
No, I don't have any old business, but this goes back to the approval of, this goes back to the approval of minutes that we're going for, executive session. If you look in your packet in here, it gives all the dates and who was there. So you guys, I don't know if you need to reach out to Melissa, but it tells you who was present and who wasn't present. I was just
Okay.
flipping through it when we were going through it, so you guys could just take a look at it.
And Mr. Chairman, for old business, just get a quick update on, obviously we've been away for the summer and sort of coming back here to it, on the solar project. Leave a quick update on that.
Do you want me to provide it? Yeah, I
Yeah.
can provide it right now.
Actually,
You wanna do
either
it
that
the
or we
next
can
meeting?
just, we
We
can,
can do it
for
the
the
next
next
meeting.
meeting.
Okay.
Just provide, so that we can provide the community an update
Yep.
of where we are with our solar project.
Yeah, we can add this in the agenda. It'll be quick.
Excellent, so that should be under future agenda items. Mr. Chairman, I apologize.
No problem. Joe, what page was that? On that
It
had
starts,
the attendance?
and here, it will go right after last week's, or last school
Okay.
committee's minutes, and then
Do you have the
it will-
page
and then
number
it
there?
lists,
There's only so
page-
many abstentions. We should just
it
keep-
starts on
keep
page,
this table till next meeting.
yes,
I would abstain from two.
it will be right after page 5.
Okay, so about page 6.
And then it goes executive session minutes of school committee held on August 17th, and then it gives the list of all the other ones.
Okay.
And it says who's present.
Okay. I'll just double check that, and we can vote on it next time if you guys feel
Yeah.
comfortable with that.
I still think we should table
Keep
it
it
to the
to
next
the-
meeting, give everybody
Yeah,
an
I
opportunity to
wanna
look at it,
revisit
so.
Okay.
Revisit
when
it
you-
tonight? Okay.
you know, when they
I-
come up,
we're
you
gonna have
say, oh, I
somebody-
was.
I have 2 abstentions, Scott has 1 or 2, I mean, we all probably have
all
1
Yeah.
or 2.
We can kind of outline it for everybody just to make it
We'll
clear.
just
Yeah.
jot it down so we're all clear.
Right.
Yep.
When you want to
Thank
go
you.
watch the game.
Okay.
Is there a game on tonight?
All right, so we covered old business. Next agenda item is adjournment. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Do we have an executive session tonight?
No
Mr. Chairman?
executive session.
Excellent, thank you. Motion to adjourn.
Motion from Scott, seconded by Jim. All in favor? Thank you.